Hello everyone. In this video, we are going to majorly concentrate on types of salt. But before that, we have to go through what is acid base so that how the salt is getting formed, and then we will see what are the types of salt. Let's start with the video. The first concept we are going to see, it's an acid. What is an acid? We are going to take one substance and we'll put that in water. So the substance is going to get dissociate and to produce certain ions in a water. If it is producing hydrogen ion, then we can say the particular substance is an acid. And again, this acid is of two types, strong acid and weak acid. What is strong acid means? Based on pH we can classify. If the pH is very low and it is near to zero, we can say it's a strong acid. And the acid is going to have a pH level mostly above 3 and till 7. So it's nothing but the weak acid we can say. And what a strong acid means, it is completely dissociate into their ions. That means we will be getting more hydrogen ions after the substance get dissociated. But over here in weak acid, it is partially dissociate. So the ions are going to be little less in water. And over here, another point is, since more the ions are present in strong acid, it will conduct electricity better because of the higher concentration of ions present in a solution. But in weak acid, it will conduct less electricity compared to the strong acid because it is partially dissociates, right? So the ions are going to be little lesser than the strong acid. That's the reason it is going to conduct less electricity compared to the strong acid. And over here, I have given some example for common strong acids. So hydrochloric acid, sulfuric acid, nitric acid, and weak acids, mostly all the organic acids are of weak acids, acetic acid, formic acid, oxalic acid. The next concept is base. So we are going to take some substance and we'll dissolve that in water. So it is going to get dissociate. So after that, it is, if it is producing hydroxide ion, then we can say it is a base. Like acid, base also is of two types. One is strong base, another one is a weak base. So strong base pH level is nearly close to 14 and weak base pH level ranging from 7 to 10. And here in strong base, the ions are going to be, that means the substance is going to completely dissociate in water and produce a large amount of hydroxide ion. But over here in weak base, partial dissociation is going to happen so that it is producing a small amount of hydroxide ion. Mostly the strong base we are going to use in manufacturing industry, cleaning product and chemical reaction, where and all the strong alkaline environment is required. But weak base, usually in household products, we will be using these weak bases. And here are some examples for common strong bases, sodium hydroxide and potassium hydroxide, and some example for the common weak bases, ammonium hydroxide, calcium hydroxide, magnesium hydroxide. Next, we will see what is salt. So we all know how the salt is getting formed when acid and base are getting reacted. So we will get the result as a salt. So basically, salt is having two parent. One is base, another one is an acid. And how we will define the salt, how we will name the salt means, in the name of the salt, the first part is going to derive from the base and the second part is going to derive from the acid. So a very common salt, we can take NaCl. So how this NaCl is coming from which base and from which acid? What are the two parents for this NaCl? One is what? Sodium hydroxide. Another one is hydrochloric acid, right? So we are going to take the first part of the base, which is sodium. So we will write this as sodium. And we are going to take the second part from the acid, which is chloride. So it is going to be chloride, sodium chloride. The first part is coming, the name, in the name of the salt, the first part is coming from the base and the second part is always going to be derived from the salt. This is how we will be naming the salt. And now we are going to see a very important concept, which is types of salt. Salt are of three types. One is neutral, another one is basic salt and acidic salt. Here I have mentioned two neutral salt. Why it is means, see, so we know how the salt has been been derived. When a base and acid are reacting with each other, it is going to produce a salt. So the base what we are using, if that is a strong base, and even the acid is also a strong acid, if strong base and strong acid are going to react to produce neutral salt. Same way, weak base and weak acid will produce neutral salt. So that's why I have mentioned over here two types, but both are neutral salt only. And the next concept is, the next type is basic salt. When we will get the basic salt, if a strong base is reacting with the weak acid, then we will get the basic salt. And what about acidic salt? Weak base is going to react with a strong acid, then we will get the acidic salt as a result. This is how we will define the salts. So now I am going to give some examples. So we will identify whether the salt is a neutral salt, basic salt, or acidic salt. So the first example is sodium chloride, which we have already seen. So I will come for the next one. So calcium chloride. How this calcium came from which base? Can I say calcium hydroxide? So whether calcium hydroxide is a strong base or a weak base? So calcium hydroxide is a weak base. What are the strong base we know? It is sodium hydroxide and potassium hydroxide. So it's going to be the weak base. And how this chloride is going to come? It is going to come from the hydrochloric acid. Whether hydrochloric acid is a strong acid or weak acid, it's a strong acid. Then when weak base is going to do the reaction with the strong acid, what type of salt we will get? It's an acidic salt. So like that we have to do for all these examples. And one more thing, whenever you have a chloride, so actually the acid which we are going to use is nothing but the hydrochloric acid. And about the sulfate, what acid we will use for the sulfate salt? It's nothing but sulfuric acid. And over here, yeah, acetate. What type of acid we will use for this salt? It's an acetic acid. And over here, nitric acid. So these things we need to know. And if it is weak or strong, so based on that we will define whether the particular salt is neutral salt or acidic salt or a basic salt. Just work out. If you have any doubts, you can comment. We will see. And we will have one more question to, based on what we have learned till now. Let's look into the question. You have three aqueous solution A, B and C as given below. The first one is potassium nitrate, second one is ammonium chloride, third one is sodium carbonate, and we have to choose the correct increasing order based on the pH level. So first we'll see all the salt, whether which type of salt, all the given things. Well, just check the first salt, it is potassium nitrate. Potassium nitrate is coming from potassium hydroxide and nitric acid. So potassium hydroxide is what? It's a strong base or a weak base? It's a strong base. And what about this nitrate? Nitric acid. So nitric acid is a strong acid or a weak acid? It's going to be a strong acid. So if strong base and strong acid are going to react, we will get a neutral salt, and the pH value of the neutral is going to be 7. And the second salt is ammonium chloride. Ammonium is coming from the ammonium hydroxide, which is a weak base, and this chloride is coming from hydrochloric acid, which is a strong acid. So what type of salt is this? It's an acidic salt. So what about the pH value? It's going to be less than 7. And the third option is sodium carbonate. Sodium is going to coming from the base sodium hydroxide, which is a strong base, and carbonate is going to come from carbonic acid, which is a weak acid. So what type of salt here we are getting? It's a basic salt. What about the pH value? pH value is going to be greater than 7. So it is greater than symbol 7. So now can we arrange this pH? Based on this pH, can we arrange these options in an increasing order? So which is so less over here? Less than 7. So I can arrange the first option as B. And then B is lesser than A. And it is lesser than to C. So this is our correct option. The option D is the right answer. Based on what we have studied, we are going to find whether the salt is of acidified salt or basic salt or neutral salt. Even we can define the pH too. Hope you understood. Thank you.